Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. You all have taken your half-yearly examination, and now we are resuming our studies. So now, today, we will start a new chapter in history, and this chapter is your chapter number 7, that is Civilizing the Native, Educating the Nations. And as you know, there is 2 chapters are deleted, and now you have 10 chapters in history. Earlier there used to be 12 chapters. So if you have old book, then in the old book this chapter number is 8. Okay, so don't go for chapter number, just go for the name of the chapter. The chapter's name is Civilizing the Native, Educating the Nation. This is chapter 7 in new book, okay, and chapter 8 in old book. So now we have done up to how the British rule was expanding in India. It was first of all, there was they came for the purpose of trade. Their center was Bengal, and then we have seen that how they started to interfere in the political matters of Bengal, and how all this led to the making of British as Diwan of Bengal after the Battle of Plassey, then Battle of Buxar and all. And we have seen that the British became the Diwan of the Bengal, and with this they started annexing more and more territories of the country on one or the other ground. As we have discussed all these things, like there was subsidiary alliance, then there was a policy of paramountcy, then there was doctrine of lapse. So all these were bases, were grounds on which annexation of the Indian territory was done by the British. Other than this, there was direct war also. Like we have seen, there was war with Marathas, there was war with Tipu Sultan, and in these wars there was support from Indian rulers only. The British got support from the Indian rulers only, and because of the support from these Indian rulers, the British were able to defeat the Marathas and also the Tipu Sultan. And in this way, we have seen that before 1857, a large part of our country went into the direct control of the East India Company. And then happened this revolt of 1857, and the consequence of revolt of 1857, the most important consequence was this transfer of rule of India from the hand of East India Company to the hands of the British Crown, isn't it? And one more thing which is very much important, now it was said that it was an order from British Crown that there will not be any annexation of Indian territory. Whatever area, whatever territory was annexed till 1857, that was final. Now there will not be any more annexation. Okay, and then we have also seen how the British tried to control all aspects of our life. All communities of society were targeted by the British. They wanted to control of all the activities, all the groups. Like they controlled peasants by this indigo cultivation. They interfered in the life of the tribals by their forest rules and all. They wanted to here you must understand one thing, that the British were not only on a kind of territorial conquest in India. They came in India not only for the purpose of territorial expansion, and neither their purpose was only to control the revenue of the country. Other than these two aims, we can say the first is the territorial conquest, and the another is control over revenue. So these were the most important aim or objective, we can say, of the British. But at the same time, these were not the only purposes of the British rule in India. What we find that the British were of the opinion that they had a cultural mission also. Cultural mission. They are on a cultural mission in India. Because the whole chapter revolves around this topic only, this cultural mission of the British. That's why the name of the chapter is Civilizing the Natives, Educating the Nation. So what is their opinion that the culture of the eastern side of the globe in which India falls, they were of the opinion that the culture of India was inferior. Not only India, the whole culture of the Asia was inferior to the Western culture, and that is why they felt that they have a kind of responsibility. They have this cultural mission to educate the people who are not educated properly, because the system which was prevailing at that time in India or in other Asian countries was not up to the mark according to them, were lacking everything. The content, the knowledge, the way the education was imparted, everything was not correct according to British. So they were in the they were on a cultural mission to educate the nation and civilize the natives. Natives means the people who originally belong to some place, like the people who belongs to India. They were the natives. So उनको कैसे educate करना है? This was the mission. Okay, and what we find that it's not that all the Britishers were of the same view that the culture of India is not anything valuable. There is nothing good in the culture of India. It's not. It was not the opinion of each and every Britishers. There were Britishers who were of the opinion that the culture of India is very, very rich, and the Western, the people belonging to the Western world needs to needs to follow the culture of India. There were such people also, and these people were known as Orientalists. So first of all, we will see about those people who considered that the culture of India has it's very, very valuable. It has some such positive points, such elements which are needed to be understood, which are needed to be followed by the Britishers, by the Western world. So these people were known as Orientalists. It was in the starting, there were such people, there were such Britishers who were who were having such opinion. So we will see who were Orientalists. Orientalists were such people who have a scholarly knowledge of the language and culture of Asia, who value the knowledge and culture of the language and culture of Asia, and who have knowledge, who have done depth study of language, deep study of language and culture of Asia. So they have the knowledge of language and culture of Asia. These people are known as Orientalists. So there were such There were Britishers who were Orientalist, who considered Indian language, Indian culture as superior, as which contained such elements which needs to be understood, which needs to be followed. Okay, so one such Orientalist was William Jones. So William Jones, he arrived in India in the year 1783, and the place was Calcutta. 1783. Okay, and this William Jones, he was appointed as junior judge at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, which was established by this East India Company, about which you have studied in the previous chapter. In 1773, the Supreme Court was established. So for that Supreme Court, this junior judge, as junior judge, he was appointed. William Jones was appointed as junior judge of the Supreme Court. Okay, so he was an expert in law because he was judge, so he must be an expert in law. But other than being an expert in law, he was also a linguist. So what does it mean, linguist? He was also a linguist. So what is the meaning of linguist? Linguist means someone who knows and who studies so many languages. Like we know most of us are knowing only two languages, English and Hindi. But there are people who knows so many languages, who study so many languages. Such people are called linguists. Okay, so William Jones was such linguist person. He had studied Greek and Latin at Oxford. Okay, and he also knew French and English. So you can just understand how many languages he is knowing: Greek, French, English, Latin. Okay, so not only this, when he came to India, he started also studying this Persian, and he started to spend so many hours a day with pandits who taught him this Sanskrit language. That's why he is known as a linguist, because he has interest in languages, various languages. तो अरेबिक भी उन्होंने पढ़ा, पर्सियन भी उन्होंने पढ़ा, and then so he had interest in Sanskrit language, Sanskrit grammar, and he used to study this. He used to actually, there was a pandit who taught him all these Sanskrit language, grammar and poetry. And then he started studying ancient Indian text on law, ancient Indian text on philosophy, religion, politics, morality, then arithmetic, medicine, whatever texts were available in ancient Indian, he studied them, and he discovered that there were many other British officials who were living in Calcutta at the time. They were also have same interest. Just like William Jones, there were other Britishers also who had interest in Indian language, Indian culture, ancient Indian text. So there were other Englishmen like Henry Thomas Colebrook and Nathaniel Hallhage. They were also busy in discovering the ancient Indian heritage. They also wanted to be master in Indian language. They also translated Sanskrit and Persian works into English. So these these three people, William Jones, William Jones, Thomas Colebrook, Thomas Colebrook and Nathaniel Halhet. These three set up a society which was named as Asiatic Society of Bengal. They together set up this Asiatic Society of Bengal. Asiatic Society of Bengal was set up, and they started a journal also. The journal name of the journal was Asiatic Researches. Asiatic Researches. So these three people, they started to represent a particular type of attitude towards India. They had great respect for ancient Indian culture, but that does not mean that they didn't have any respect for their own Western culture. Actually, they had respect for all the cultures, be it Indian culture or Western culture. They had respect for ancient culture, both of India and the West. And they were of the opinion that Indian civilization was highly glorified in the ancient time. But subsequently, we can say in the medieval period, it declined. And if we want to understand India, it was very much important, it was very much necessary to discover the sacred and legal text of India, which was ancient India. है ना, एंशियंट इंडिया में जो लीगल एंड सेक्रेड टेक्स्ट जो थे, they were very much important. And if you really want to know India, if you really want to understand India, it is very much important to understand these texts. Okay, so because these texts can only reveal the real ideas and laws of the Hindus and the Muslims. What was the ideas of the Muslims and Hindus in India in ancient time? What was the ideas and laws of the people of India? So the ancient Indian culture was very much superior, was very much important, and they understood its importance. And this is the Orientalist. This is the views of the Orientalist. They both these, especially these two, William Jones and Thomas Colebrook, they went about discovering ancient Indian texts, understanding their meaning, translating them from Sanskrit to English, from this Persian to English, and they also made other people aware of all these findings. So it was a kind of project for them to make people aware of the rich ancient Indian culture. But subsequently we will see this does not remain for long, because there were others people who were not supporting this view at all. So we will continue with this discussion in the next class.